In April, explosions rocked central Iran near Isfahan and Natanz, home to key nuclear facilities fueling Iran's 60% uranium enrichment. Suspected Israeli drone strikes targeted military sites, escalating tensions after Iran's attack on Israel. Social media fears a nuclear spiral as markets wobble. Why did this happen, and what's at stake? We'll unpack the news in 6 steps, delivering raw truth for libertarian uncensored. No fluff, just facts to navigate this crisis. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. Explosions near Isfahan and Natanz. Initial reports. On April 19, 2024, explosions echoed near Isfahan and Natanz, critical hubs of Iran's nuclear program, where 60% uranium enrichment fuels global concern. Iranian state media reported 3 drones downed over Isfahan near a military airbase, with no damage to nuclear sites. Natanz, Iran's main enrichment facility, was unaffected, officials claimed. Social media buzzed with fears of an Israeli strike, noting Isfahan's nuclear research center and Natanz's underground centrifuges. Iran suspended flights over both cities, signaling alarm. The U.S. confirmed Israel's involvement, targeting non-nuclear sites, costing Iran minimal losses. For libertarians, these strikes highlight U.S.-backed escalation, fueling a war cycle that profits defense contractors while risking broader conflict in the Middle East. Lamir Chapter 2. Background of Iran's nuclear program and attacks. Iran's nuclear program, started in the 1950s, turned military post-1979, sparking sanctions that cost $50 billion in oil revenue by 2015. The 2015 nuclear deal capped enrichment, but Trump's 2018 exit unleashed Iran's 60% enrichment. Natanz, with underground facilities and Isfahan's research reactors, faced prior attacks. Israel's 2021 Natanz blackout delayed enrichment for months. Social media recalls these sabotage efforts, often tied to Israel's Mossad. The U.S. and UN believe Iran's program, halted in 2003, aims for weapons, despite Tehran's denials. For libertarians, U.S. sanctions and Israel's strikes provoke defiance, not peace, while war budgets enrich globalists. Iran's nuclear sites, shielded by bunkers, remain targets, escalating tensions as Western pressure fuels a cycle of retaliation. Chapter 3. Suspected Israeli involvement, motives. Israel, unconfirmed but suspected, likely launched the April 2024 drone strikes near Isfahan's airbase, avoiding nuclear sites, per U.S. officials. Motivated by Iran's 60% enrichment and its April 13th drone missile attack on Israel, Israel aimed to signal strike capability without major escalation. Social media notes Israel's history of targeting Iran's nuclear facilities, like the 2021 Natanz sabotage. Backed by $3.8 billion in U.S. aid, Israel seeks to curb Iran's nuclear threat, fearing a bomb within weeks. For libertarians, Israel's U.S.-funded strikes escalate a proxy war, benefiting defense contractors while risking retaliation. Netanyahu's government, facing domestic pressure, uses precision attacks to deter Iran, but fuels a cycle of violence that globalist powers exploit, with no clear path to de-escalation. Chapter 4. Iran's response and nuclear defiance. Iran downplayed the April 2024 strikes, claiming air defenses neutralized 3 drones with no nuclear site damage. Officials denied missile attacks, blaming infiltrators, and reopened airspace swiftly, projecting control. Social media highlights Iran's defiance, noting its 60% uranium stockpile and ongoing enrichment at Natanz. Iran vowed a maximum response to further strikes, signaling readiness to escalate. Despite sanctions costing billions, Iran's oil trade with China sustains its program, undermining U.S. leverage. For libertarians, Iran's resilience exposes sanctions as civilian punishment, not regime control, while U.S.-backed pressure fuels its nuclear push. Iran's alignment with Russia and China, cemented by a 2025 treaty, strengthens its defiance, risking a broader conflict if Israel or the U.S. targets nuclear sites again. Chapter 5. Global and Regional Fallout. The explosions spiked global tensions, with Brent crude hitting $90 in April 2024 as markets feared Gulf disruptions. A 5% stock market dip reflected uncertainty, per social media warnings. NATO allies, strained by U.S. policies, faced energy risks, while China and Russia's bloc backed Iran, escalating a multipolar challenge. In the Middle East, Israel's $3.8 billion U.S.-funded defenses braced for retaliation, while Iran's proxies eyed escalation. For libertarians, U.S. interventions, sanctions, aid, fuel this chaos, enriching war contractors while hurting allies. A wider conflict could choke oil routes, spike prices, and destabilize markets, with NATO's cohesion and regional stability at risk as Iran's nuclear defiance and Israel's strikes push the region toward a breaking point. Chapter 6. Libertarian Truth and Outlook. The 2024 explosions near Iran's nuclear hubs, tied to Israel's drone strikes, expose U.S.-driven escalation as a globalist failure. Iran's 60% uranium and axis with Russia defy $2 billion in sanctions, while markets reel at $90 crude. Social media fears war as talks falter. Libertarians see sanctions as civilian theft, U.S. aid to Israel as provocation, and war budgets as profiteering. Iran's defiance, backed by China, signals a multipolar shift, but strikes risk a Gulf war, costing trillions. Will this spiral into peace or catastrophe? The cost is American, the stakes global. U.S. policies fuel chaos, not solutions. Call to action. Explosions near Iran's nuclear sites, with 60% uranium at stake. Risk war as $90 crude signals chaos. Social media dreads escalation. Will U.S.-backed strikes stop Iran or ignite conflict? Share your take below. Subscribe to Libertarian Uncensored for raw truth on global power shifts.